Let me start with something uncomfortable. The more you explain yourself, the less powerful you appear. That sounds unfair. After all, explaining feels responsible, mature, reasonable. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Excess explanation signals doubt, and doubt lowers status. Let me explain. When you make a decision and state it calmly, people register certainty. When you immediately follow it with justification after justification, something shifts. You move from authority to defense. And defense implies vulnerability. Now watch how this plays out in real life. You decline an invitation. Instead of saying, "I can't make it," you say, "I can't make it because I've had a long week, and I promised myself I'd focus on work, and I don't want to overcommit." The extra detail feels polite, but socially it communicates something else. "I need you to agree with my reason." That's where respect drops, because authority doesn't seek approval. It communicates boundaries without apology. There's a difference. Explaining to inform is not the same as explaining to defend. But most people blur the line. They over-explain because they fear disapproval, misunderstanding, conflict, loss of image. So they stack reasons. The more reasons you give, the more openings you create. People can debate your reasoning. They can challenge your logic. They can negotiate your explanation. But they can't negotiate a clear boundary. When you explain excessively, you reveal internal doubt. You're saying unconsciously, "I'm not sure this stands on its own." Strong people don't flood others with reasoning. They understand a quiet rule of hierarchy. The higher your status, the fewer words you need. Look at leaders. The most respected ones don't over-justify. They state direction. They may clarify if necessary, but they don't plead their case, because pleading signals insecurity, and insecurity shifts the power dynamic. This is where most people get trapped. When you give layered explanations, you invite people to evaluate them. Is that a good enough reason? Now your decision becomes a debate. And once it becomes a debate, you're no longer leading. You're defending. That's a lower position. Even in relationships, if you constantly explain your moods, your boundaries, your decisions, you train others to expect access to your internal reasoning. Eventually, they feel entitled to it, and entitlement erodes respect. Most over-explaining comes from fear. Fear of being misunderstood, fear of appearing cold, fear of rejection, fear of tension. So people try to manage perception through explanation. But here's the paradox. The more you try to manage perception, the more unstable your position becomes. Because strong presence doesn't require persuasion. It requires clarity. In social hierarchies, brevity signals confidence. Long justification signals uncertainty. Think about someone saying, "This is the plan," versus, "This is the plan, and here's why. And I know it might not be perfect, and I just think it makes sense because..." The second version feels defensive, even if the logic is sound. Power is often nonverbal. Tone, pace, conciseness. Over-explanation disrupts that. Strong people don't refuse to explain. They choose when to. They ask themselves, am I informing? Or am I seeking validation? Am I clarifying? Or am I protecting my image? If the explanation is coming from fear, they reduce it. They understand this. Clarity earns respect. Defensiveness invites scrutiny. When you explain yourself too much, you hand over control of the frame. You let others decide whether your reasoning is acceptable. But respect isn't granted because your explanation is airtight. It's granted because your position feels stable. So remember this. The more secure you are, the less you need to justify. And the moment you stop explaining from fear, your presence changes. This was why people respect you less. When you explain yourself, stay sharp.
Thanks for spending time with us. If this sparked a new way of thinking, hit like and subscribe to keep the ideas flowing. And don't forget, check the description for the links to the original books and resources we used today. We'll see you in the next one.